What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Punch. That's right, we are back after a couple weeks, getting things back rolling again. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, whether you're watching us here on YouTube or listening in on the audio version, make sure you come back here every Wednesday to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic, we're breaking down the horror genre, looking at some of the subgenres. We're talking about, we're listing those out, not in a list format, just in a conversation format. And then we're going to talk about some of the subgenres that we like and some that we don't like. And that will lead us into next week's topic. That's right. It's kind of a two-part combined, joined, Halloweenish horror genre discussion. That was a lot.
You gotta have the sequel. You always gotta have the sequel.
You gotta have the sequel. I am Brody Hanson, joined by Charlie Hickman and Tudong Dylan. How's it going, guys?
Great. Good. I'm excited to get started, and I love Halloween. I love this time of year. It's like a brisk 65 here in Southern California. It's freezing. Just so cold here in the fall. Maybe it's 70. Maybe it's 70. I don't know. It feels like a brisk 12 degrees outside. It is so cold. Ooh. I had to wear a jacket today. Can you imagine?
I'm in my house wearing a jacket. It's a nice 42 outside right now in Reno.
Wow.
All right. Well, look, this is a topic that I think is a lot of fun to talk about, especially this time of year. I think there's most of us enjoy a good scare, and there's a lot of different movies out there that can provide us with that kind of jolt this time of year. But look, is there anything less informative than talking about a broad movie genre? Like you're hanging out with your buddies and you're like, "Hey, what kind of movies do you like?" And they're like, "I like comedies." Whoa! Yeah. And I like action movies. That's great. Whoa, that's very informative. Like it's like one of the least the least telling pieces of information you can provide about your preferences.
And
so we thought it'd be kind of fun to break down.
And watch our comedy discussion to see how we break down comedy through the years.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It all goes back to movies. Well, anyway, so what I thought would be kind of fun today to kind of look at some different genres. Now, look, I'm gonna just get this out of the way. There is not like some American Movie Association pre-approved horror movie subgenre list. So I did some research, and I actually looked at some film school information and some other places online, read some stuff, and then I basically ignored it and kind of just came up with my own list because I wasn't satisfied with anybody else's list entirely. So let's talk about it. I came up with 10 genres. Tell me what you guys think.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of break them down a little bit and talk about them. So number one, the classic, the slasher. You got your Texas Chainsaw Massacres, your Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. A lot of the most famous horror movies are slasher films, absolutely big in the 80s. The second subgenre, Splatter and Gore. And this is an interesting subgenre, I think, focusing a lot on the fragility of the human body. You watch this and it's like, oh my gosh, look how easily a head squishes, or how easily a hand explodes.
Not my favorite.
A lot of blood and a lot of we don't need to talk about that. All right, severed limbs. Look how fragile we all are. All right.
Gross.
Then we have psychological horror movies, which, a little bit of what we're doing to poor Brody right here. You can think of movies like The Shining, where, part of the slow burn and the fear in the audience building throughout the movie. A lot of great psychological horror films. The fourth one I'll put out there, supernatural or paranormal, The Ring or Poltergeist,
or
Paranormal Activity.
Just attacked Dylan. I don't know. Was that a ghost?
Oh, was there something attacked Dylan?
Something just attacked Dylan.
I don't want to anger the spirits of the house, people. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Look, the walls bleed and the animals they get upset. I think to myself, it's probably the neighborhood, the neighbors season this. I hear voices saying, "Get out."
If you're going to experience one of these subgenres, I think maybe that's the safest. So good, a ghost there. Because number 5, you wouldn't want a monster like Dracula or Cloverfield kind of banging down your door right now.
You got Jason either coming through your door, or you have a couple of months where they're like, "Just please get out. Just get out." You're just like,
just move. Yeah. If it were me, I just moved to a new house. All right. Easy, the problem solved.
Or hire me to just.
Oh, see, there you go. But now, nowadays, they have the ones where it's like, hey, You're haunted, sir. It's you.
Oh,
It's not even a house, but it's still haunted.
Okay. All right. So let me get through this. All right. So number 6.
Sorry.
We got zombie movies. You might also see this like as like an apocalyptic kind of end of world scenario. Like something with a pathogen or any kind of like I don't know virus. It's maybe too soon to talk about that. But zombie genre is so fun. We'll talk about that one later for sure. Number 7, just comedy horror films. You see a lot of like whether it's something like really slapsticky like a scary movie, or even just something that kind of subverts the genre a little bit, like Scream did when it came out, and several other kind of good horror comedy films that have come since and even before. Number 8, we got like sci-fi, things taking place in outer space, like Alien and Aliens and
Predator.
Yes, baby.
Really anything to do with kind of aliens or just like real technology based horror. Number 9, like survival stuff, like you might like open water, where you're kind of treading water out there trying to survive sharks, or just kind of
Jaws.
like these kind of just like where you're these survival just where you're kind of you against nature, or you against like a ticking clock of death, or just what are you willing to saw off your own arm to live, that kind of stuff.
No.
And then the last one, like like a true crime, like real world serial killer stuff, like you're from Hells, your Zodiacs, just really anything kind of focusing in on like more of like a true crime horror story, maybe more from a police perspective.
The scariest,
like 7.
The scariest of the genres.
7. So I know that was fast.
That was fast.
But,
that was good.
But it was 10, and I don't want to spend too long on all of them, right? Because we're not here that long. So I thought it might be kind of fun to talk about. So what are your favorite genres, and what are your least favorite genres? Like what draws you to the horror, and what repulses you, what pulls you away? But once you start, what do you like?
You start.
I really like supernatural, actually horror. I like supernatural.
Not surprised.
Give me ghosts and demons. Give me Freddy Krueger's.
Not surprised.
Don't give me Jason when he's a human being. Give me zombie Jason. Come on.
Like Jason X?
Well, anything after he dies in part 4 and then he's brought back in part 6, then he's a zombie.
Well, Jason X is great because it's sci-fi, supernatural, and slasher.
Yeah.
So you really get like and
Jason
comedy
X
because
that's true. I will still watch that before I watch Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Any day, bro. I don't care what you say. Any day, I'll watch that over Freddy's Dead. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. Don't like that one. But what about you, Charlie? What do you kind of gravitate towards?
Like when I was younger, I really liked. When I was too young. I think I saw like Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like 8 or 9. I think I liked the slasher films. I think it was kind of fun to be scared. I think like horror movies in a lot of ways, like when you're young, it's kind of like roller coasters, or as you get older, maybe spicy food is a good way to think of it. Where you in the beginning you just kind of want to challenge yourself, like all right, I want to be scared. I want to see how scary is too scary. I want to how hot is too hot. And then as you get older, maybe it's like, okay, like I love spicy food, but if it's just all about the spiciness, then I'm just not as interested in it. So like the real like splatter gore stuff, if there's not like a good story, if I don't care about the characters who are suffering, then it's really hard for me to like engage and get into it. Like, don't give me spicy food for the sake of it being spicy. The food's got to be good. But if it's good and it's spicy, ooh boy. So I really I like zombie movies quite a bit. But there's not really a category here that I don't like, that I just categorically dislike, but the movie's got to be good. Like it's got to have like a good core to it.
I will admit,
I hate Supernatural.
There is one that I'll actually gravitate away towards, and I don't know if it's kind of a sub genre, and that is the torture horror these days.
Yeah,
like those Rob Zombie, like Firefly ones.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, House of a Thousand. Yeah, those are really not my thing. Like what are they called? Yeah.
I agree. Those ones.
Hostel was real popular.
Hostel, that's what I was saying. Right? Yeah.
I mean, even like Saw when it came out was like really. I thought the first Saw. I really liked the first Saw. I think it's good. It's really under budget. It's got like a nice psychological tint to it, and I think maybe if you haven't seen that in a while and you're more familiar with the sequels, you might think that like the sequels are very gory and kind of like very much like kind of fitting more into that kind of like repopularization of like the torture horror stuff. But the first one, I thought it was like a really much cleaner film and like a good story and told well. Most of the sequels in this genre are inferior.
They just try to be gory.
Now, what about you, bro?
I think for me, I enjoy the sci-fi horror. I
like Jason X.
Like Jason X.
Like Leprechaun in Space.
Leprechaun in Space. Yep. Leprechaun in Space was so bad. It was so bad.
Saw that?
Yeah, I own it.
I did not.
He owns the whole Leprechaun box set.
I bought the box set, man.
He's a big Jennifer Aniston fan.
But for anybody who's watched these videos, people see like all my space stuff. I talk about Interstellar. I talk about Fifth Element. I talk about all of my space stuff. So obviously, I think the sci-fi horror is what's kind of going to grab me. I'm also not a big horror movie guy. I don't like being really scared like that. I think they're too scary. Some of them are too scary. The paranormal stuff, too scary. I then have to walk through my house and then I get scared because I'm like, and so I'll
tell you something. I thought that movie would be really scary. You give me a ghost story, it's scary. But if you give me, as soon as they started off, they're like, oh, it's a demon. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, what are you guys talking about in that case? But you give like The Ring and you see like the ghosts of the really wide, pale eyes and they're like staring at you. There's nothing you can do. Oh, oh no. That's scary. That's this. Eesh. Tell them Marge sent you.
I just don't go to really any of those. And so it's either kind of sci-fi stuff or it's like the comedy stuff that does veer, it doesn't have to be full horror comedy, but it's got to kind of veer into some comedy and give me some fun, give me like a reason to enjoy watching the movie. That's
like Shaun of the Dead.
Like Shaun of the Dead. What's the Tucker and
Tucker and Dale
versus Evil, stuff like that I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying myself. That's kind of where I fall in the horror.
This is an interesting genre because I think it's one that even when you enjoy like movies within the genre, it's maybe not one that has like a high rewatchability on every film. Right,
that's true.
There's something that's so different about the first time you see, like a horror film, like just something with that suspense of not knowing what's going to happen that you can never really recapture once you've seen it all play out. And so you may fall in love with the movie, you may really like it, it may be meaningful in some way, but for me, like showing other people like stuff that I've really enjoyed is more fun. Like the jump scares coming, or like this beloved character is about to eat it. Like when you watch Psycho for the first time and the shower scene and all that stuff. Oh my gosh, like that's especially spoiler alert. I know depending on what age you are watching this video,
70-year-old.
I know we
movie.
look old. That was before our time, but in its day, if you do a little online research, that was quite shocking when she died. But once she's gonna die, then it's a different kind of experience when you watch it that second time.
Sure.
So I do think that there are movies that within each of these genres that like I'm glad I saw, but that I never want to see again. And then there are other ones that I saw and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to show somebody else this.
There's definitely ones I would never want to see again. I'll say this.
What's the scariest one you ever watched, Steve?
What?
What's like one that you'll never watch again because it's too scary? Come on.
The Lady in White. I will never watch that ever again. And let me tell you why. You've got ghosts, which is scary. You have got Mona from Who's the Boss? And I don't know what they did with her makeup, but she is petrifying, okay? I was like, oh, maybe I'll take a look at it on IMDb. And I saw a picture of her, and I was just like, no, never, ever. But then again, it also has to do with, like, a person who's killing kids. And, like, it turns out, I mean, like, this kid she's trying to, like, run away and not get killed. Everybody gets killed. I never ever will revisit that movie. I've never bought it, and I don't ever want to revisit it. It's just, yeah. What about you? Is there one you would not revisit?
You know, when you said the kids thing like that, like I've never seen it, and I have no desire to ever see it. I just, anyway, yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I can't do kids, anything with kids. I'm just out. Like if the kids are getting murdered or killed, like I just
Yeah.
I
That
can't
it's
anymore.
a little girl ghost. It's
I don't mind little kid ghosts are fine. Evil little kids also fine, but like kids getting murdered, I can't. Like if it's Rosemary's Baby or something like that, that's okay.
Murdered and she's a ghost, and then she replays her murder every night. Oof. Horrible. Bro, what about you?
I'm trying to think if there's a movie that I got so scared that I don't know if I'll ever watch again. Because I don't, as soon as I see like a trailer or something like that, I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that. And so
But I mean, maybe you saw something already. I mean,
maybe I've seen something and it just kind of blocked it out. I remember I saw Saw.
You were terrified of ET.
I saw Saw. I was terrified of ET. I saw Saw when it first came out, and I was kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know if I like that." It just, yeah, and then it kind of turned me off of that whole, because then it kind of went from Saw into kind of all the torture stuff after that. So I don't know if I can at least think. I can't think of one right now that I'm like, I never want to see that movie again. I'm trying to look like behind Charlie to see what movies are back there that I would never want to watch again.
This is going to sound odd, but I recognize that it's a really good movie, and I don't think I'll see it again. It's with ghosts, and like I said, ghosts have a way of just not doing it, and that's The Sixth Sense. I hate the fact that I'm saying this about an M. Night Shyamalan movie. But I will admit, those visuals of ghosts, I'm like, nope, don't. I saw that when it first came out, and I was petrified of it. And I was not like a little kid when I saw it. I was an adult.
I did see that, and I enjoyed that one.
I enjoyed it, too. I thought it was a very well put together movie. But, I mean, I also took the portrayal of the ghosts were, to me, rather scary. Enough to where I'm like, I don't need to see this. It's not as bad as The Lady in White, but yeah, ghosts.
Yeah. I gotta look up The Lady in White. So I didn't realize. So Mona, is it just because of her red hair? Do you hate all redheads, or?
I said her makeup. Look at the makeup. She doesn't look like herself. I don't know what they did to her. I was just clicking through. Go on to IMDb and take a look. Petrifying. Look, I was just like,
I just like to take this time to apologize if you're out there and you're watching this and you have red hair. That we as a podcast do not condone Dylan's hate speech towards you.
My
and your
mother
and your
has red hair, and so do I when it's not this color.
Like Dylan's Norman Bates thing aside, so my oldest son is expressing my oldest son's expressing interest in he's at that age where he wants to kind of he's the oldest son, and he's trying to push his boundaries a little bit. We love going on roller coasters together. He calls us Team Danger when we're at the theme park, because we'll do all the rides, and he just he's just been psyched up about it since he was young. And so I told him this year we'll watch a horror movie, and basically we're gonna make an event of it every year. Him and I are gonna sit down around Halloween and just kind of watch like a new horror movie that he's never seen before. And it's delicate because he's 11 and
sure.
want to pick something that's cool, but not something that's going to actually give him nightmares and terrify him, because he deserves better than I had when I was his age. He shouldn't be watching some of these, right? So this year I'm going to go with Gremlins as kind of like his first, like just like a, kind of like a nice low key. He's not going to fall asleep feeling like he's got to, like if he bathes the dog after midnight, that the dog's going to sprout out these little gremlin creatures. But it'll be fun. There'll be some nice little moments of horror in there. So I think that's going to be our first one this year.
That's a good one. I actually just showed all my kids, including my 5-year-old, that movie, and she didn't like the gremlin parts. She loved Gizmo, but I forgot how silly that movie goes. I mean,
it's pretty silly.
When they're going through the movie theater and they're watching, they're all singing along, it gets so silly, and that really helped in kind of exposing that to the kids, because if I started laughing, then they were like, "Oh, this is funny." That helped. That helped.
Yeah, gremlin in a blender, no big deal. I do think that Brody, as someone who's shown all his kids RoboCops,
Not yet.
RoboCop the film at like age 3.
No.
Amy, if you're watching this, just let it be known that Brody told me in confidence, and he said never to tell you in person, but he didn't say anything about the podcast.
No,
he showed RoboCop to his kids, all of his kids.
Well, hey, when my daughter is born, I'm gonna first show her Evil Dead 2 because she needs to toughen up real quick.
That's a good one. Mm-hmm. That's a great one.
Hail to the king.
Great one for kids.
That's on me.
Great one for kids.
Hail to the king, baby. Great one for kids. I do think just from a personal perspective, like it's gotten harder for me to enjoy. Not I shouldn't say enjoy, but just to consume these style of films over the last 6-7 years with kids in the house.
Yes.
I've got 3 kids and a fourth on the way because I am dumb. But my wife is very smart and beautiful. But we are, it's not like I can put one on at like 8:00 and like, hey kids, we're all gonna let's all sit down and watch it. So there's some gaps, and there's a whole bunch of new, like I really really want to see Get Out and Us. There's just some like new horror films that I just haven't gotten a chance to see yet, and they're because I didn't get to go to in theaters, and they're just not on any streaming services right now. So I'm hoping that if you're listening, HBO, come on, pull them on here. Hulu, somebody, do me a favor. There's just not a lot of like the new content that's coming onto these streaming services. At least maybe it feels that way. At least not the stuff that I'm looking for. Did you guys see either of those or anything?
I saw both of those. I saw them both.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I heard it was a horror movie, and I was like, nah, I'll go see Captain America.
Looks so good. Oh, I want to see it. Captain America, that's a scary movie. You see he's like thin and then he's thick. And then he's like frozen in ice. I mean, terrifying. Everyone he knows is dead. It's horrifying.
Not everyone he knows. The love of his life's still around. With probably an older version.
He did kind of hook up with his girlfriend's granddaughter, so good job, Captain.
It was her niece, to be fair.
Whatever.
So I think because it is harder to watch these types of movies.
Nowadays you've got kids, those, and kids. Also like the home invasion ones.
Ooh, I don't like those ones. Yeah,
I don't like them.
A lot of things, like Charlie was saying, with that involve kids and stuff like that. I don't like. I've got 4 kids of my own. I had 4 kids first.
Before it was cool.
I don't think it's ever cool to have 4 kids. Nobody's calling me cool.
No, it's our own personal horror movie, bro.
But yeah, it is hard. Like I'll be honest, I do have kind of a fleeting interest in seeing the It movies. I don't know why. I don't think I'll like it. And that has to do with
show them to your kids.
It's like everything that I don't like, but for some reason it's just piqued my curiosity. And so I see it on the HBO Max.
I'll tell you this. I read The Shining and I thought, oh, this was great. I thought it was really like the book. I thought it was really scary, and so I borrowed, because I was borrowing from a friend of ours, and I borrowed it because I thought she was like, oh, this is this. If you read The Shining, you liked it, you should read it. And so I read it, and I couldn't get past the first scene. I was just like, no.
I heard the book is is graphic.
The book is, I don't know, because I couldn't even get through that. I was like, I've got a little brother. I got 2 little brothers. Screw this. I'm like, no.
If you've never seen
but it's funny. I actually, huh?
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like, I've seen the original It, and I mean, I wouldn't mind watching the other It. I haven't gone towards it. You want to hear something funny? I was talking to the kids about like Halloween. I'm teaching, art teacher. And they were talking about this, or they were talking about Batman, and I thought, oh, I gotta flash him the old Joker smile here. So I get a nice big. I remove the mask, because you gotta wear masks in school. I remove it and I give him a big old flash of Jack Nicholson Joker, and they're like, "Whoa, Pennywise!" And I was just like, hey. What? Like, oh, well, okay, it's a clown. Close enough.
Close enough. All right, if you're watching this and you have never seen the mixed up trailer of The Shining, just go ahead and pause this. Well, wait, don't pause yet. Open up a new tab on YouTube and then type that in and pause this. Now go watch mixed up trailer of The Shining. We'll wait.
That's great.
It was great, right? Hilarious.
Oh man,
you'll never watch the movie the same way.
It's so good.
I will say, like, there's something to also the era that you see horror movies in. I know we talked about this in our comedy episode. Like, I think most content consumed in the era that it's written in is going to be like the best time to consume it. Dylan, you and I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time together, right? You remember that?
We did. I remember that.
And we were past college, I think, at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it just,
we were expecting some serious stuff.
And it was fine, but like it just wasn't quite, I'm sure, what it would have been had we seen it in its time.
Yeah,
so
we also
there's
had
something to be said.
Like the hindsight of other horror movies that came after it,
Absolutely, that have been influenced directly by it, and it's a lot of these, especially like older ones. All right, if you guys had to pick a slasher, are you guys more Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, or the Scream Ghost?
Freddy.
Jason.
I feel like I should pick Mike Myers or the Scream Ghost, but I would also go Freddy.
Yeah.
Freddy was scary.
Yeah.
Jason at least kind of like lumbered around and then just would show up and kill somebody. But
that's kind of scary, bro. I don't know if you realize it, but a large individual coming at you with a machete, that's kind of scary.
It was an old lady in the first one. That's not scary. Come now.
That's even scarier.
You got to watch one. So, all right. So stay with me. I'm gonna give you guys some options here. We're recommending movies to the folks.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You got to watch one of the next three.
Okay.
The Shining, Silence of the Lambs, or Blair Witch Project.
Shining.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Silence of the Lambs. All right.
Unbelievable.
Better supernatural or paranormal series: the Paranormal Activity or The Ring.
I never saw the Paranormal Activity. They looked too scary. And I did see the first Ring. So I guess I will just say The Ring.
Bro.
Too scary. Too long. Too scary.
I don't care for Paranormal Activity or The Ring. No, wait a minute. Are we going with the original, or are we doing like the Naomi Watts one?
Like the whole Japanese
version? Naomi Watts? I don't know.
Sure, you can include that in there. You can include.
I guess The Ring. It has more things going, but the jump scares are ridiculous. What would you choose?
Yeah, probably The Ring. I didn't get like super into the Paranormal Activities. All right, classic monster movie monster: Dracula, Wolfman, Swamp Thing,
Dracula.
Fill in the blank. Frankenstein. I guess.
Not Swamp Thing. You mean the creature from the Black Lagoon?
Oh,
that is what I meant.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing is a DC hero.
Yeah, you're right.
Which was a really bad movie.
A Toxic Avenger.
Oh.
I will say Dracula.
Although the Frankenstein genre did have the more critically acclaimed run of movies. Like some of them were actually really well. Like the first two, Frankenstein and then Bride of Frankenstein, very, very deep. Much.
Also, Young Frankenstein.
Oh, now you're really talking. In that case, I changed my mind. If you include Young Frankenstein.
All right, scarier movie, Alien or Aliens?
Alien.
Yeah, Aliens. Scary. Well, no, I'll go Aliens. A big swarm of them is also pretty horrible.
They also had big guns, though.
That's true, but
and also had Bill Paxton saying, "Game over, man."
That's true.
We're all gonna die.
You can't. If it's game over, it's game over.
All right.
What about you?
Personal fear. Aliens. All right. Personal fear. Would you rather be, what's the worst case scenario for you? You're like an open water situation where you're treading water in the ocean on like a raft, and there's sharks. You're trapped in the wilderness, and there's wolves. Or you are stuck in like a snowy, alive situation, plane crash out in like the snow-capped mountains alone.
I'm going to choose one, but I'm going to alter it slightly. The treading water, but instead of sharks, there's whales. Whales freak me out. They're too big.
Whales that are vegetarian?
They are too big. They're too big. They're too big.
Orcas, I guess?
No.
They could probably,
like a blue whale,
give you a ride back to land.
A blue whale is too big. That animal is too big. I don't like it.
But a shark that's going to look at you and then tear you apart?
They're smaller. It's not as bad. A blue whale is too big.
What about a killer whale?
Well, they'll kill you. That they're not as big as a blue whale.
That's true.
Or what about you, Dylan? What's your you're welcome to amend things as well if you have
I really
crocodiles or
regret
alligators or something.
eaten by wolves because they'll tear you apart and eat you as you're alive. But you're still on land, and I mean, like in the water. I mean, there's drowning as well. So I'm going to say I would rather not do the water because you're so far outside of your element.
Oh, and then
It's
you put,
unbelievable.
And then you put whales in it.
Kill the shark, you're probably going to get exhausted and die. No, that sucks. No. You kill all the wolves, you're not going to drown. So, What about you?
Yeah, what about you, Charlie?
I think my least favorite would be probably just being alone in the snow and just kind of dying alone. I'd rather, like, if you're in the shark infested water and you're just like tired of living, then at some point you can just be like,
keep you company?
Like, no, you can just be like, okay, go ahead and kill me. Like, go ahead. Like, I don't want to tread water anymore. I just go ahead and eat me sharks, or I'm gonna ride this giant whale to hell, or whatever it's gonna be.
Entertaining.
The wolves are out there. It's like I'm either gonna kill all these wolves or they're gonna kill me. Let's go right now. But you're just out there alone in the snowy mountains.
If you're surrounded by wolves, you're gone. You got no chance.
Great. Then it's over quick. A quick, painless, unisolated death. Give me that over just wandering the wilderness until I starve to death out in some snow-capped Andes mountain wearing a big red parka coat with like a little baggie of human jerky that I got from the dead passengers.
It was oddly specific.
That's very.
Have you seen Alive? Have you seen Alive? The Andes, based on a true story. All right. Look, anything you guys want to add to this conversation?
After having this, I'm looking forward to going over our top 3 favorite horror movies in our next episode.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
because I think it's going to be really interesting to see how different our lists are based on.
I know Dylan
based
put
on this
conversation 1, 2, 3 on there.
Based on this conversation and what we like and some of the things we don't like, I'm really interested in seeing what you guys pick.
Yeah, I bet we all have the same 3, so it'll probably be a really boring episode. Tune in.
It's gonna be great. Make sure you tune in.
We're all in agreement. Nice. Well, yeah.
Always good chatting with you, gentlemen.
You too, sir.
All right, now make sure you click the links below if you'd like to see some more videos like this. Maybe you're watching this one and our next video is already out. Go ahead and click it, and you can find out what our top 3 favorite horror movies are. Lots more recommendations. Make sure you dress up something scary for Halloween this year. Jump scares are great. Don't scare your children too bad. And if you're like Dylan, don't dress up like Pennywise the clown, because that is a terrifying. Give him the smile one more time, Dylan.
It's smile.
Yeah, we're gonna get like 4 dislikes just for that smile. It's a creepy smile. All right, click the like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Stay away from the whales.